An Eastern Idaho judge hearing arguments in the case against Chad Daybell. Daybell's attorney discussing several motions related largely to when this case will actually go to trial. Chad and his wife Lori both facing multiple murder charges for the deaths of Lori's 2 children and Chad's previous wife in 2019. Joining us with more on what happened today in Fremont County is Nate Eaton from our partners at East Idaho News. So Nate, what were the biggest takeaways from the courtroom today?
Well, the big discussion was when this trial will actually be held. It's currently scheduled for Ada County in January, but both sides, the state and the defense attorney for Chad Daybell, want it postponed. They're suggesting that it be held in late 2023 in the fall. And so John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, argued that he needs more time to prepare for this trial. There's a lot of evidence. He's waiting for things to be turned over from the prosecutor. And so he argued that, and the judge did not decide today. He said he will issue his written order sometime in the next few weeks, and then we should know when the trial actually will happen.
Now, they also discussed some other issues at stake today as well involving grand jury transcripts. So what was decided there, and what could that ultimately impact?
Well, we know that a grand jury was held in May of 2021. That's when Chad and Lori were indicted. But we learned that another grand jury was held in December. And John Pryor, Chad Daybell's attorney, asked for the transcripts from that grand jury proceeding that we were unaware of until recently. The judge heard argument. The state argued that they don't actually have a transcript from that hearing. One has never been produced, and that it's not necessarily in relation to Chad's case. Both sides went in to meet privately with the judge. When they came out of that meeting about 10 minutes later, the judge granted the motion. So whatever happened at this grand jury hearing in December, John Pryor will now get a transcript of that hearing.
Okay. Now, we also know a ruling will obviously be coming now before the end of this month on whether or not Chad's trial will officially be pushed back to maybe around this time next year. But what about that request once again to separate Chad's trial from Lori's? Where does that stand now?
Well, that was supposed to be discussed today, but John Pryor asked that it be delayed for another month. He wants to prepare an argument in response to what the state is saying. So that hearing, that issue will be taken up on November 10th. He's asked for this before to separate the trials. The judge has denied it. So we'll see if when this is heard again, if the judge will change his mind and maybe separate them. But at this point, they still remained together.
Now, again, another issue, obviously cameras were not allowed in the courtroom there today, and that was something that was expected to be discussed today as well, as far as allowing cameras or even live streaming for future proceedings or Chad's trial itself. Did that come up at all today?
It was supposed to be discussed. John Pryor had asked for it to be discussed, but yesterday Judge Boyce handed down an order saying, yeah, it was denied. So it wasn't even taken up for discussion. There were no cameras. There were no still cameras in there. So the public wasn't able to watch. We have requested an audio portion of the hearing, some audio that we can release so that people can listen to it. But no, a camera issue was not discussed today.
Okay, now obviously today's hearing also focused largely around Chad Daybell, but Lori originally was supposed to be there in court today as well. Was there anything discussed related to her case today, and what do we expect happening there next?
Lori was not there. Her attorneys were there, and there was some discussion about her mental competency. Her case has been put on hold pending that mental competency. So it's unclear exactly what's happening with her case. John Pryor is going to make the argument, Chad's attorney, that these cases need to be separated because we don't know what the future holds for Lori. We know what the future holds for Chad. He's competent. I want to get things going. So we're going to wait and see if the judge does decide to separate them and actually what happens next with Lori.
All right. As always, Nate, we appreciate your reporting on developments on this case out of Eastern Idaho. Of course, you can read more of Nate's in-depth reporting on eastidahonews.com. Thanks for being with us, Nate.
Thanks so much.